Everybody, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Daniel Klein. I have the privilege of sharing some words of Torah on this week's Parsha, Parshat Bahalotcha, with all of you. And I want to thank Rav Claudia for the invitation to do so. And I want to say, most importantly, I hope everybody is doing as well as possible, as well as they possibly can in these strange and difficult and challenging times. And I so wish I could be sharing this and being in conversation with all of you directly, and more importantly, just being together. But I offer this as a substitute, the best we can do in these times, and hope that my reflections are in some way meaningful and useful for you. So I'm really struck in this week's Parsha that something extraordinary is happening, which is after 9 or 10 months of the people being at Sinai, after the revelation of Torah at Sinai, they begin to travel. They begin to move. This is the week where finally, after this gestation period, if you will, the people are ready to leave, ready to be on a journey, which is extraordinarily symbolic, because we know since the beginning, we are a people who are in relationship with God as we're on a journey. We're people who are living responsively to the reality of being a part of this much larger whole, this oneness, and each of us being incredibly significant and unique and important within that through movement, through journeying, right? The great call to Abraham was Lech Lecha, go forth. So the fact that the people are beginning to move means that they are ready to take up this tradition of journeying, of being in relationship with God and living sacred lives as they're going about their lives in the world. One of the great questions that they faced, that we all face when we're on a journey, is how do we know when and where to go? This week's Parsha, not only do we have the Israelites leaving, we have instructions, or they receive instructions about how to know when to travel. It says in chapter 9, beginning verse 15, that there was a cloud that dwelled over the Mishkan always, and when the cloud lifted, that meant it was time to travel, and when the cloud descended, that means it was time to stop and to camp. So there's a lot of ways we could understand this cloud and this communication. The thing I want to focus on is the symbolism of this cloud and how one needs to be responsive to that as a form of communication. Now, it's possible on this latter point about communication that the cloud was this very clear cloud, which sometimes clouds are like that. On the other hand, clouds are often mist. That is a form of cloud. It's also possible that this cloud that the people that was with the people over the Mishkan may have not been so clear. And what that meant is that and maybe it changed. And what that means is that as a people, to receive the communication, they had to have a practice of watchfulness, a practice of presence. Now, more than that, if we think about this image, this symbol of the cloud, it could be that the cloud was a symbol of God's presence and it's comforting. On the other hand, the Nitivot Shalom, a more contemporary Hasidic master, points out that clouds are often symbols of confusion. Right? If we think about what it means for our heads to be in a cloud or in a fog, or for the fog to roll in, those are symbols of disorientation, symbols of confusion. So when the cloud settles, that means that the people are in a state or an experience of confusion and not knowing. So instead of the cloud settling being an image of comfort, the cloud settling is an image of discomfort, of confusion. So that's a really powerful image. That's a really powerful image. Maybe the opposite of what at least I instinctively would have thought, right? That the cloud descending as a time to stop is actually the people being in the experience of confusion. And maybe coming to that experience through actually after having wandered around, feeling like, oh, wait a minute, now Now we're actually not quite sure what to do next. But thankfully, the Netivot Shalom points out the Torah gives instructions of how to work with this situation. In verse 17, it says, and this is repeated throughout this little section, Uv'makom asher yishkon sham ha'anan, and the place that the cloud would dwell, would come down and settle, sham yachnu b'nei Israel. There they would camp. And what the Netivot Shalom sees in that is instructions. He said, when the cloud settles, when you are confused, when you're disoriented, the thing you need to do is stop, is stay put. You might have thought that the reaction would be to run, right? Oh my God, this darkness is coming, run away. But no, the Torah, says the Netivot Shalom, is saying stay put, be present. And the reason we do this, or the opportunity that's available, says the Netivot Shalom, is remember what happened at Sinai. In chapter 19 of Exodus, verse 9, it says, Hine anochi ba elecha be'av ha'anan. I will come to you in a thick cloud, bavor yishma ha'am b'dabri imach, in order that the people may hear when I speak with you. Says the Netivot Shalom, this verse should be read as a message to the people of Israel, that they should know that even in a thick cloud, I speak with you. Even there I speak to you and am close to you. Even when the Holy Blessed One is hidden, you shouldn't think she is far. So what the Torah is telling us, says the Netivot Shalom, is that when you are confused, disoriented, unsure where to go, when to go, how to keep moving forward on a journey, stop. Be present. Be watchful. Watch the cloud. Watch the uncertainty. Be with it. And have trust. Implicitly, this is saying have trust that even there, God is not far. Which is to say, even there, the teachings for the insight, the illumination of how we need to be can be found. And we need to have trust in that. So, clearly, this idea is relevant and resonant, at least for me, to this experience of life right now, where there's so much uncertainty, so much darkness, so much confusion. We're surrounded by fog. The cloud has settled. And I hope that this teaching from the Torah, through the prism of, or through the lens of the Netivot Shalom, can be of some comfort and of some support and guidance to do as our ancestors did, and as we're mythically, or as we're taught through these myths, to be present, to stay put, to try to remain calm, and to be watchful, watching what's around and with it, and trusting that the way we need to be is available to us, that God is still present. That Zot HaTorah, that this right here, this very place, this very moment is our Torah, is our teaching, is our illumination, that teaching and illumination is available and present. If we can be with it and trust that it will emerge. May you all have health and strength and courage in this difficult time. And may you also have some sweetness and joy on this Shabbat and in your lives. Shabbat Shalom.